Hello friend, welcome back. In our previous video, I already discussed about that things with you, how can load your update page on particular that position. So that is our update page, that means this page. Okay. So how can load it? So here I successfully load on particular that area, that is our URL as the settings. So now I want to update that system name, that is the favicon icon, and also there is font in logo and the admin logo. So how can do that work? For doing this, here you can see I already defined one of the open form, and here there is our back setting and update. So that is actually the URL now we have to create. So now go to our route. So here there is a route. So better I just copy it. Okay, I just copy it, and here I just paste on particular that position. So that will be the put method. Like here you can see that is actually the put method. So here I just copy it, and here that will be the put method. I just defined as a put. And now also here I define our URL, that is setting and the update. So here I just copy it. Okay, and here I just define that things on here. Better I just define as a settings, because before I use it as a settings. So I just define the settings and the update. So now go to our route area. So here you can see before I just added that URL as a settings. For the reasons I just define as a settings, and then I just define as an update. And now in our admin folder, that is a system controller. So with this system controller, now I want to access or want the method. So that is the method as an update. So here I just define that update method, and this name I just want to define as setting update. So here I just define as a setting update. Okay, so I just define as an update. So then there is all the permissions. So right now I am not focusing on particular that permissions. I hope you can already well understand about it. So only here all is available. So right now I want to work with this all. Okay, so now there is a put method, the setting update, and here I just define the setting controller. There is an update method. So for now we have to create that method in our this controller. So go to that controller area, and here I want to create that method. Okay, like as a public, and then function, and then our method is an update method, and then here I just define that update method. And into the update method we have to define as a request. So here I just define that request, and also I have to add that variable with that request. So here I just define that a variable as a request. And now they have the field, like here they have only one field, so I just make the things only that field as a required. So this field name, so that is actually the name fields. Okay, so for now here I just defined some validation. So I did the type of work like with this, and then I just defined that validate. Okay, I just defined that validate on particular that position validate, and here I just define with this request. So I just define that request on particular that position, and then here I just assign that array. Okay, so that's a semicolon, and particular that position I just define the field name. So our field name is a name, so here I just define as a required. So here it should be the required. I just define required required. Okay, so here I just define that name field will be the required, and after that I want to upload all that field, like here or all that other field is all that images. So I will do that same things in our post, right? So when I actually added some of the post and also added some of the post images, so I already did that work in our post controller. Like if you go to our controller, that is admin, and there is a post controller, and in the post controller here you can see I just defining that for the update the images, like here for update that images. So that is our update method, and for the update images here you can see I just define that post and then the request all that file. So now I want to actually copy whole things from here. Okay, I just want to copy whole things, like here I just copy it, and now in our setting on particular that position I just paste on particular that area. Okay, so now that is the last one. So now here I want to customize it as per our demand. Like here first of all I want to work for our favicon. Okay, so in our favicon, so that is our favicon name, so that is id2. So for now I want to actually access this one. So better I just take one of the variable as a fav underscore, okay, underscore a setting, I just define that set underscore fab underscore settings, and then I want to also work in our setting model. So here I just define the setting. Okay, I just define the setting model and find that ID. So before I already defined that things with you, that is a setting, and find that one ID data. So right now I want to work for the favcon, and favcon for this one here I just define that ID as a 2. You can see there is actually ID 2. So right now I want to access that data, find out that a specific ID. So here I just simply add that 2 ID on particular that position. I hope you can well understand about it. And now there is a if request and file, and then I just define that our field name. So here if you go to that our update, and here I just define that name as a favcon. So I just copy that name, and in our setting here I just define that name on particular that position. Okay, and now I also want to do, I want to unlink this one. So before I already discussed about that things with you, that's the unlink and the public path. And right now I created one of the folder on particular that position as the others. Okay, so now I just define that things on here as the others. I just define that things as the others, and in particular that area we have to define that our that fab setting. So here I just define the fab setting with our this value. That means here I also want to insert some of the value. So this value will be inserted on here. So that is a regular value. So here I just define that value. Okay, so here I just define the value, so we don't need that dollar. So before I already discussed about that things with you, before I just define that as a setting and then the value data. Okay, so it's pretty much the same things. So here I just define that setting, and that with this variable here I just find out appropriate 2 ID data, and then I just want to show that value. So for the reasons I just define that value on here. So right now we don't need this. I just remove 2 of this from here. Okay, so here I just remove 2 of this, and then the file and the request file will be the favcon. So here I just define that favcon, and after that there is the extension. Okay, extension, and then file our get client original, so that should be needed. And then that is our, I just take one of the variable as a favcon. So I just define that favcon, and in particular that position will be the favcon. And then after that I want to do like here that is the extension. Okay, so after that I just want to defining it like here I just defining that after this one, that my favcon dot, and then I just define the extensions. That is these extensions for the get client original extension. So that's one of the methods. So here I just define that extension on here. Okay, that is the favcon dot and then extensions. Perfect. So now here we don't need two of this, so I just remove 2 of this from here, and there is the images make file. Okay, so for now I also don't need this. I just remove all the things from here, and there is settings. We don't need this. Okay, and here I want to do with this file like here. Okay, like I just defining it on this position, then it will be better. So now with this file I just want to access like here. I just define with this file I just define one of the method as a move. Okay, so here I just define move and move where. So here you have to defining it, so it should be move in our public and the others folder, right? So here we have to defining it, so I just define it as a public and then underscore path. So I just define that public path, and here I have to define the public path will be the slash others. Okay, that means the others folder it should be redirected. And then in particular that position I just define that extensions, like here I define that favicon and the extensions will be this one. So I just define that extension. Okay, I just define that extension on particular that position. So I hope you can well understand about it what exactly that means. Like here I want to move that file with the file move, and it should be move our public path, and into the public path they have the one of the folder as the others, and into the folder they after that images they have some of the extensions. Okay, like here if you go to that positions, like here you can see there is actually the favcon, there is actually the images name, and then also they have some of the extensions, that means the dot and the png. So for the reasons here I want to do that work, there is a favcon, that is the images, and then after that there is the instance, there is actually the dot, and after the dot there is actually the extension. So it might be the png extension, it might be the jpg or gif. Okay, so this type of extension will be allowed on here. So for the reasons I just defining as a public path, and the others folder he will be assigned that images with that extension. So that's the reasons I just pass that variable on particular that position. So I hope it should be very much clear to you what exactly the things I did on here. And after that, I want to actually add that things like that is actually our value. So here I just define that value. So I just define that value, and value here I equal to with our that favicon. So I just define that favicon on here. Okay, and then I just want to save it. So here I want to save it with this one, like that is actually fav setting, and then here I just save it. I just define the save method and particular that position. So that is actually ended on here. Okay, so that will be the ended on particular that position. So I hope you can well understand about it. So for now, that is actually for the one, that means that's one for the our two ID, that for the favicon. So we have to do the same things for our font logo and the admin logo, right? So better I just copy it. Okay, I just copy it and I just paste two of these on here. There is a one and then another one is a two. So then the second one, I just define that name as a font. Okay, I just define the name as a font setting, and here I want to find out for the font, it will be find out the three data. So here I just define the three ID data on particular that position, and then there is actually the name. So here I just define that name. If you go to the position, so that is I defined as a font logo. Okay, so that is actually the font logo. So I just copy it, and here I just define that field here like as a that is will be the font. So this one, so I just define this one and this one. Okay, I just rename it with the font and the font logo. And also here I have to pass that font setting. So I just define that font setting. So that will be the font setting. There is a font setting step. Okay, so now it's perfect. So now I have to do the another work for our this, that is the admin one. So for that admin, so that is I name it as the admin logo. So I just copy that field name, and here I just name it as a admin logo. That is admin logo. I just update it. Okay, and for the admin logo I just name it as a admin setting. Okay, like as a admin underscore setting. So now we have to pass that admin setting on here. That is admin setting value, and then admin setting data. I just want to save it. And then also we have to take another field, so another field ID as a one. Okay, so we also have to add the things on here. So here I only added all the images. So if you go to that our page, I already images added the favicon, there's a font logo and the admin logo. Also we have to insert that data, that means the system name. Okay, so we also have to add the things on here. So I will continue this process because I don't want to make that video so much long. Okay, so I will continue this process. In our next video I will complete total our setting update function. So thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next video.